I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
All right, we're back. Lynch has cried, and now we will continue on with the episode.
How are you doing?
As you were sort of embarking on this big weekend, I was also embarking on a big trip. I went and shot some videos around the world and immediately got into some controversy right at the beginning of the trip. So this is a good discussion. So Qatar Airways, I flew. Now, typically a very good airline. You know, it's a 5-star airline, but they have sort of one of these baggage policies that like you don't expect them to enforce. You know what I mean? So this is the way it works. You can check multiple bags for free, but your carry-on, you're only supposed to have 1 7-kilogram carry-on, and then you can have a personal item also. But it doesn't really say much about that specifically, what the personal item can entail. But 7 kilograms, so 2.2 times 2.2. So it's like, what, 15 pounds or something, which is not a lot. If you have like a standard carry-on roller bag, that is not a lot of weight. 15.4 pounds. Okay. So anyway, we go to check in. I know I'm checking a bag. We have a bunch of gear and we had problem. What, are you hearing something? Oh, you made it look like, so, we brought backup stuff because in Alaska, our camera crapped out. We bought a new one and then we were still kind of having problems with it. So we're like, just in case, we're going to bring a backup camera that we're going to return, but we brought a bunch of backup gear and tripods. And so we had enough shit that like we needed to check a bag. Now, I only had a big check bag because Hillary had one of the smaller ones for a trip that she was on. So anyway, I go in, I check the bag, and then I weigh my carry-on, and they're like, oh, this weighs too much. They're like, can you like try to figure that out? I'm like, all right, fine. Like, that's annoying, but no big deal. So we go back to the drawing board. We start moving stuff around. Since I have this big check bag, I can move stuff appropriately. So I move it, put my thing back on the thing, and they're like, okay, all good. So I'm done now. So then Zach, who's the camera guy, he and is sort of my trusty sidekick, he goes to weigh his bags and they're giving him shit about his. And the lady's like, it weighs too much, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I just did mine and it was fine. And the lady's like, well, what do you mean? Then how? She goes, weigh it again. And I go, no, I already did. I'm already finished with this process. I'm not doing it again. She goes, yes, you are. She goes, you're doing it again. I go, no, I'm not. I'm absolutely not. And then she's like, well, I'm going to put you on a no boarding list then if you don't do it. You're not going to be able to board the plane if you don't do it. And I'm like, so now I have to do it again. I'm sort of like, all right, I guess whatever. So I put my stuff on. It weighs more than it's supposed to. I guess it's supposed to weigh 12 kilograms total between your personal item and your carry-on. But like, that's not really publicized anywhere. So now I now have to check another one of my bags. So I do. I'm just like, I quickly grab a couple of things I need and I check it through. My AirPods are in that second bag. I'm about to fly 20 hours with no fucking AirPods. So I realize what I've done and I go back. I'm like, hey, I need my bag. And now the supervisor is there. And she's like, I could, but it might not make it on the flight if you don't, or like it might not happen in time. And I'm like, well, what's like this person told me that if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be allowed to board the flight. She goes, she can't tell you that. I'm like, what? So now I'm like, what the fuck? So whatever, I'm just like annoyed as fuck. We both like checked all of our shit basically. I still have my roller, but like it's with just the stuff that you can't check, which is like batteries and like whatever. So we get to the gate, dude, everybody has way more shit. So we just like got unlucky and like the girl must have heard me. I got her name because I was like obviously not going to let this go. And then I just start being all pissy to fucking Qatar. I'm like messaging them, tweeting about it, being a little bitch, like whatever. But then, dude, I now fly without AirPods for 20 hours, which was so beat. But like, how annoying. And then for the rest of the trip, was not a problem checking anything. Like on the way back, we had to check bags again. No one said shit to me. Like it wasn't a problem. No one said anything ever about carry-ons. And there was 2 other opportunities for them too. So the fact that like that one time it happened was just like so fucking frustrating and an annoying policy. So anyway, I'm annoyed about it. And I like bitched up a storm and they're supposedly going to like look into it and get back to me.
They bet-
Obviously, I snitched on the girl by name.
They better look into it.
Dude, so fucking annoying. And actually, I didn't get her name, but then I saw her again at the gate, and I made sure I got it. I was like, there she is.
You have the right to take her picture point blank.
I should have.
Can you read one of the tweets that you posted?
It was just something like Qatar sucks. Like they made me do this, this, and this. And like the tweets all ripped too, which was amazing. Like they all got a ton of attention.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Is there a piece of you that ever gets nervous when you rip an airline that they're going to put you on the no-fly list
no.
or take you off the flight? Because a lot of those tweets happen an hour
happens.
before or an hour after a flight or while you're on it.
I know. So no, but like I certainly thought of that. I didn't go too hard. And plus going too hard in public is like not worth it. So I try my best to just have kind of like a fun, whatever situation. And hopefully like, I just want to know that the lady who was like threatening and lying, like is like inconvenienced about it the way that I don't want her to get fired. Like, but dude, fuck that. You can't do that. That's so obnoxious. So anyway, that was how we started the trip. All good, whatever. The flight there, 12 and a half. The first leg was 12 and a half hours. Then there's a 3-hour layover and then another 4-hour flight. Long ass travel day, but all good. I think that flying east is much harder than flying west because when you fly west, you kind of land the same day. So like I took off from Qatar again, and then it was actually 15 hours because they did like kind of a wacky route. Long flight, but at least you get back. I got back to New York at 4:00. And at that point, it's like you just need to stay up until dinner and then you're like on normal time again, basically. So that's basically what happened.
What did you do to entertain yourself? Did they hand out headphones?
Yeah, there was still like an entertainment system or whatever. I watched Gladiator 2, which was like one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, it was horrible, dude. Like just so bad in every way.
That's sad to
Dude,
hear.
first of all, everybody's speaking with like a British accent except Denzel. And Denzel is just saying Denzel shit. At one point he's like, that's politics. Which was insane. But yeah, dude, like bad movie in every imaginable way.
Damn.
Just like a piece of dog shit. They knew they could like make money making it. I'm assuming it made money. We should actually look that up. Can you see if Gladiator 2 made money? I watched Moana 2, which was great. And then I just fucking, I don't know, just like diddled around and tried to pass the time. Tried to sleep. Did my best there. Then they have these like sleeping lounges that are always just so hard to book. Like you can't book them in advance if you have like the priority pass, which gets you into all the lounges, which is the thing you get through Amex. You can only check in after a certain amount of time. And then if they have availability, I've tried like 3 different times to get these sleep suites. Has never worked out. Didn't work out this time either because of the timing. But yeah, anyway, then get to Kathmandu. And dude, Kathmandu. Oh yeah, let's see here. Gladiator.
Budget was about 250 million. It grossed about 460 million. So it did well.
Money grab. Because I mean, the original is just such a classic. So anyway, get to Kathmandu. And we were going to have, so one night in Kathmandu, and then from there we would drive to do our next activity. So in that situation, it's like, I was a little worried that it wasn't quite enough time to rest and like be ready to go, but it ended up being fine. Got a good amount of sleep, and then drove many, many hours to get to this this Buddhist monastery where I was going to live the life of a monk and participate in sort of their day-to-day activities. Now, this place where we went, it's like very close to Tibet. So Tibet is sort of this like hub of Buddhism, and all the people at this place spoke Tibetan. They did not speak Nepali, whatever, because it's in Nepal. And this drive to get out there was super cool. I mean, you're driving through the Himalayas. Kathmandu's disgusting, like I was saying. Like the air quality, the worst in the world every day that we were in Kathmandu. The number one worst AQI on planet Earth. All 3 full days that we were there.
It was visible?
Oh my God, it was disgusting. Like the sun was like bright red at sunset, going through all the smog. Like really kind of a nasty city. Like feels a lot like India, which like has a bunch of polluted cities too. And like culturally, it's like there's a lot of Hinduism there, and like it's very kind of Indian feeling, but not.
Just to paint the picture, there's so much smog that you can look directly at the sun,
Yes.
and it's not a big deal.
Yes. And
That's
we actually
insane.
made that point. The AQI was 282 at one point, which is like close to the red zone, which is like it's hazardous for your health to be outside.
It's like
It was
a burn
already
pit.
Yeah, it was purple, which is like high, like really, really gross.
It's worse than red.
Red is the worst,
Oh, okay.
but purple is
Still.
the next worst. But it was #1 in the world,
Damn.
the worst in the world. So anyway, but we drive to this monastery. Now, dude, the last like 3 hours of this drive was like the worst road you've ever been on in your life. So like getting there was sick. Like the road itself has only been there for like 20 years. There was no road before. You would have to like physically walk and trek to get there. So like truly in the middle of nowhere. They have this like little guest house that was pretty like bare bones. And they have all the kind of food and stuff on the property. So like and it's all vegetarian, because like in theory, Buddhist monks are vegetarians. So, you know, this one lady cooked for us every day, which is pretty cool. And, you know, there's only a few ingredients because it's like a very modest kind of spot. So like all these different versions of like potatoes, but the kitchen was like super clean. The food was really good. And it felt really healthy. In fact, like I ate vegetarian the entire trip. The second part of the trip, it was not like I didn't need to, but like once it was on the roll, I was like, oh, this kind of like feels good. I'll keep doing this. Obviously I was worried about food poisoning too. So like, I think you're more likely to get it if you eat meat. So it was easy to kind of just leave it out. But yeah, dude, we just lived at this Buddhist monastery for 3 days, and they let us participate in the morning prayer ceremony and film, which you're normally not allowed to. And they also let me dress like a monk, which you're normally not allowed to. I was the only foreigner there doing it, because it's hard to get to this place. I think they want visitors, but it's just kind of like hard to arrange. It's like far and all this stuff. And they don't have like a ton of resources. So I don't think that the word has gotten out that this is a thing they're offering.
Mm-hmm.
There was an earthquake there, the big famous earthquake, which kind of like destroyed the monastery. And then they rebuilt it. When they rebuilt it, they built a guest house hoping that it could kind of like offset the reliance on the government and the donations, since like it's part of this like really small remote mountain town. And one day we were walking down the road, and there's this like other monastery down there apparently. And the guy who was the caretaker let us in because our guide was basically told him that I was like a traveling Lama and that I was trying to see all the monasteries. So he like opened it for me, which is like pretty funny. So anyway, but dude, yeah, it was like really Zen and shit, like being there and getting to do that. So I didn't necessarily like learn about Buddhism that much, but like anything that I had learned previously, it was like an interesting setting to kind of like contemplate and think about it all. You know what I mean? We shot the hell out of it. Looks sick. It's gonna be a great video. And yeah, man, like every morning at sunrise, they'd like ring the gong, boing, you know what I mean? And then they have this like whole ceremony, and we like went and joined it every day. It was sick.
Was everybody down and chill that you were there?
Yeah, but it wasn't like the most like effusive like environment you've ever been in. People were kind of just like being themselves, and they weren't like geeking out about the fact that I was there. But like some people like thought it was cool, and everybody was nice. It was just kind of like comfortable in their own skin, doing their own thing. Nobody really spoke English, but we had a guide with us, like translating if and when we needed to. And yeah, like the main Lama was like cool to us and like let us do our thing. So that was all really sick. Then we go back to Kathmandu for the night. And then the next day we fly to Bhutan, which is, you know, a country that not everybody's heard of. It's kind of in a similar region. It's just due east from Nepal, and like similar thing, like borders China to the north, borders China to the south. Its northern border is on the border of China. Bhutan. And this is a place that is not like an obvious tourist destination, but they do, and it's actually a constitutional monarchy. So there's a king who like has power still. Wow. He sort of relinquished a lot of his power to a kind of traditional parliament in the early 2000s. But this is a place that's like very old fashioned. Like I think they didn't have internet until 2000, the year 2000, maybe even like TVs until the year 2000, like something like that. They've modernized a good amount. But now they are sort of promoting tourism, but there's a big hurdle for getting kind of access as a tourist. There's a visa fee of $100 per day just to be in the country. You need to like go through an organized tour, and they're trying to limit tourism so that they don't like get overrun by tourists. But by charging the fee, it allows them to provide this like really high level tourist experience. Our guide, and actually a listener of the pod, this guy Nathaniel, set me up with the person who helped organize my tour, who was the best tour operator I've ever encountered. Her name is Nima. She was absolutely incredible in every way. And And it was amazing. So it was this like place that is so well preserved. A lot of people wear traditional outfits still, but like the roads were perfectly paved. Every meal we had was amazing. Like it was just really well organized. And there was actually a lot of tourists. We saw a lot of like old people. It was like a ton of old people. But so anyway, we started off doing sort of like some normal tourist stuff en route to going to another monastery to do another Buddhist thing. But this one was much different. So basically like it was a 2-day journey to get to this monastery. And this monastery is kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's in a place called Boomtang, which is where sort of Buddhism originally came to.
Boomtown?
Boomtang. Bumthang, which is sort of in eastern Bhutan and not a place that tourists are going to regularly. They don't really have the infrastructure for it. We stayed in a farmhouse, which I was a little worried about. I was like, especially because the tour operator was like, look, it's a little rustic, maybe more so than like Westerners would be comfortable with.
Something like that?
Yeah, kind of. That's what all the, all the architecture needs to look the same way. There's all these like rules. Also, there's no hunting allowed in the whole country, no trapping, no fishing. The highest peaks, you can't hike them. They're like really interested in preserving nature. There's only 800,000 people in the whole country and about 250,000 of them are living abroad. So there's barely anybody in this country. Nepal, there's 30 million people. Countries are similar size. Bhutan's a little smaller, but dude, the air was so fresh. It was sick.
Why no climbing to the tips?
Because they want to like, they don't want them to like get overrun by people. They don't want to like fuck up. And also there's like some Buddhist belief that like the top of the peaks are like holy and it's where everyone's ancestors are or something. So there's that kind of whole thing. It was still a little different there. Like, and it's like an 80% Buddhist country. It's like one of the more Buddhist countries that exists.
Yeah.
But that was cool. And there's all this cool shit. Like we went to like one of the biggest Buddhas in the world. There's all these like cool tourist things that are famous. There's this thing called the Tiger's Nest, which you have to like do a pretty hard hike to get to. And it's this like sick monastery that's carved into the side of a cliff. And within it, there's all this like sick Indiana Jones shit, like a wooden ladder down to another wooden ladder, down to like cool, really cool. And no one is allowed to bring phones inside the monasteries. So there's no actual photos of the inside of the monasteries anywhere online, like to my knowledge. Like I'm sure maybe some people snuck a phone in, but they literally pat you down. So it was nice, like no Chinese tourists taking a bunch of selfies, like none of this like annoying tourist behavior because they really were on top of it.
Is that the inside of it?
No.
I'd love for there not to be a photo of it online.
Yeah, there like isn't really. That's not it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, but isn't that sick? Like, look at that.
Yeah, dude. It looks like it's from the game Uncharted.
Yeah, man. Pretty sick. So
beautiful.
We did a bunch of those kind of things, which was cool. But now, so typically you're not allowed to film in these monasteries. So we were able to figure it out in Nepal. It took me tons of planning and I figured it out finally. Someone had to call in a favor. They were from the place. They knew the Lama, like one of these. So it's kind of a similar thing here. Almost all the monasteries are administered by the government. Lynch, how did you learn about money?
I think it all started with a piggy bank. With pennies and nickels and quarters and dimes.
I love it.
And just being told that it's smart to not spend it right away.
Yeah.
Put it somewhere, let it accumulate, and then you get to enjoy it at a later date.
Exactly. And that's like a good concept. And for me, I remember one of the first forays that I ever made into investing was signing up for Acorns, which is a really cool service that sort of allows you to kind of passively invest money and let it accumulate over time.
Today's episode is sponsored by Acorns. April is Financial Literacy Month, Giulio.
I love it.
That's right. They made a whole month reminding you to finally take control of your money. Good news is you don't need 30 days. Acorns makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future in just 5 minutes. You don't need to be an expert. No, Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you and your money goals. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now, even if all you got is spare change.
Yeah, basically Acorns does the hard part so you can give your money a chance to grow. I remember the first time where enough time had gone by and I sort of was like, oh, let's check my Acorns account. I was very impressed how much money was in there after all my transactions and the rounding up. And it's just a really cool thing. So definitely highly recommend checking out Acorns. Sign up now and join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/oops or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid client endorsement compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/oops. So we trek and not trek, but we kind of like go on this journey, and we eventually end up at the farmhouse. And we're going to meet up with this Lama, who's given us permission to go in the monastery. Now, this particular monastery is a private one. There aren't many of these, but I guess like there's different kinds of Buddhism. Like a lot of the time they think that the lamas, and if you don't know what that term is, like the Dalai Lama, like a lama is like the head guy at a Buddhist church. It's kind of like a bishop or a cardinal for Catholicism would be the equivalent, I guess. And this particular place is a family one, and this Lama is like 6th generation, like his grandfather, like one of those kind of things. So now he's in charge of the monastery. And basically, since the Nepal thing was what it was, I wanted to have like a parallel experience, but have it be a little different. So I wanted to actually have a conversation with the Lama and talk about like some of these Buddhist principles and how I can apply them in my life or whatever. So we get there, and I kind of want to like set it up so we can plan this interview for tomorrow, but we realize that like this is going to be it. Like this is it. So we sit down, and I start having this like hilarious back and forth with this Lama where I'm like asking him questions about how I can improve things. He's kind of given me these sort of classic Lama metaphorical things, I think, because the guy was translating for me, because this similar thing, these guys spoke kind of more of a Tibetan type of dialect. It wasn't even, the national language of Bhutan is Dzongkha.
Dzongkha?
Which he may have been speaking that, but yeah, anyway. So we're going back and forth. It's hilarious. But then he starts like telling me all this shit about myself that was like true. He's like, you have neck pain. Like, didn't tell him that. He's like, you have a neck injury. He's like, it's because of bad energy. He's like, it's because of negative energy. He's like, you need to do this, this, and that. So he like called out kind of like a bunch of stuff. He's like, you love drinking. He's like, too much drinking is no good. He's like, but a little bit, very good.
Did he like preface? He's like, all right, now I'm going to roast you? Or did he just start saying?
He wasn't roasting me. Like, that's one of the things that he does.
But was it like, all right, now we're at the process of this conversation where I mentioned the things you can improve on? Or did he just start saying like,
no. I was asking for advice about certain stuff. I was like, I would like to be more disciplined. Like, how do you like, whatever. So then he starts explaining it. And then I'm like, well, part of the reason why I want to be disciplined is because I'm ambitious and I want to like do stuff in my career. But like, does that go against Buddhist principles to like, so we kind of had these like philosophical conversations. By the end of it, it turns into us getting fucking hammered together, dude.
really?
Yes, it was hilarious. And then he was like, and he was doing this thing where he was like, It was like exactly what you'd expect one of these guys to be like. And then we're like taking a selfie, and he was kind of like tan, like the way that these sort of Tibetan guys look. And he was like, I'm black, you're white. He could speak like a little English. So anyways, that was pretty funny. And then, yeah, he's like reading my mind and shit, like, or whatever. And like that's supposedly what him and his family have always done. That's part of the thing. And then at one point, like, so he takes appointments where people from the town come to him to like get advice and like heal them also, like if they're sick. So we watched him like heal this woman. It was crazy. And we filmed the whole thing. It was sick. So like,
Really?
he starts like dumping this like water on her head, this like holy water. But like by the end of the thing, the woman's like soaked. I'm like, he's fucking waterboarding this woman, dude. She's like dripping wet. She's like so happy, dude. It was crazy. And then we go in the monastery, and he's like, no pictures. And the guide was like, he's like, do you want me to like mention this to the tour person? Because like he's supposed to let us. I mean, we came all the way here. He's supposed to let us. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, what if I give him grease him a little bit? You think he'd do it? The guy thought that was so funny. He goes, he's not the only one who can read minds. So I was like, oh, that's hilarious. So we give the guy a couple bucks. He lets us take pictures. Like we're taking pictures, whatever. Then he takes us into another one. He's like, no pictures unless donation. Again, I'm like, oh, this fucking, the Lama's a shyster. And then I'm like, all right, all these problems that I have, I'm like, how do I fix them? He goes, monks will pray for you every morning, so don't worry. He goes, and then you have to buy this thing that I make. It's like special. It has like grains in it and these special herbs. And if you buy this and you put it somewhere good, like within 3 years, you'll get everything you want in your life. So I was like, oh, obviously I'm buying it.
You buy it?
Yeah.
You're like, how much?
And there's all these like concerns that I wasn't going to be able to bring it back. So we had to get him to like fill out this thing. I'm going to bring it in here and show you guys 1 sec. Pause. And then.
Yeah. Is it in like a little sack? I'm guessing, everybody, it's in a little sack. Comment below, because we're not going to cut this. Comment below while Giulio retrieves this, what the container is. Is it going to be in a sack? Is it going to be, it's in a little, what do you think it's going to be? It's not on camera yet. Oh, there it is. And what exactly, if you put a gun to my head, I don't think I could tell you what that is. That's a bowl? Clay pot.
And yeah, it was like fragile too. And this fucking idiot who was sitting next to on the plane kept stepping on my backpack when he was going to the island. I was like worried he was going to die. But no, alas, it is intact. I'm going to put it right here. There it is, magical clay pot. Then one of the days too, he conducted a ceremony at this school in town. So we went to that too, and it was pretty sick. We lived in this farmhouse, which was amazing, by the way. Like the beds were a little firm, maybe for my exact liking, but bro, this place was great. Everybody was concerned that it wasn't going to be good enough for us. The tour person, even the person running the place, who was this like angel of a woman, her name was Soman. And I'm going to give it a shout out right here. If you guys ever want to do this, let me know. I'll set you up. I think it's like not expensive to stay at this particular place. The place is called Lemos Farmhouse, which is part of Appaganic Farmhouse Cooperative or something. But dude, like she would bring me tea in bed at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like asleep in bed and wake up to this like woman standing over me.
What would she say?
She'd be like, oh, tea. I'm like, oh, thank you. Then she cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner for us. Bro, some of the best food I've ever had in my life.
Really?
And I guess they teach you. So this woman was trained by like the tourism board. Everybody's like trained by these tourism boards. Our guides, shout out to Tandin and Jigme, were some of the best guides I've ever had. They were amazing and like able to fraternize while never getting too comfortable. You know what I mean? This guy Jigme was so funny. He would just be like, he was constantly laughing. Tandin thought Jigme was like the funniest guy in the world. Anytime he said anything, he would laugh so hard. Jigme, this guy's a little older. Tandin was my age, but bro, he just kept being, then the last night he came and like sat with us. We like drank a little bit. He's joking around and he would just like laugh about something. He'd be like, dude, I was just
a little bit of zest.
A little zesty for sure. Jigme. Apparently a ladies man also. Love to see it. But dude, like, and the woman kept being like, I'm so sorry. Like, I know this like isn't what you're used to. I'm like, this is like the greatest stay I've ever had. Like, stop doing that. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So dude, like Bhutan, it's like, I recommend it for anybody who wants like an exotic, but extremely comfortable experience. It's not going to be cheap because of this $100 a day thing that you need to do. But if you're like, if you want to like spend money on a vacation, you want like a culturally sort of enriching experience, like this is what you should do. Like the hotels were all so nice. Like, dude, it was amazing. Like, no complaints. Also, in the main city, there's no traffic lights. There's a guy.
Just a guy?
And he goes, he's like a traffic director.
Conductor?
Yeah, no traffic lights, just a guy, which is great. So there's all these little things like this. There's pictures of the king everywhere. Usually when you're in a place where there's pictures of the leader everywhere, that's like not a good sign. That means that like the guy has
dictatorial.
Yeah, but this was like a scenario where that like completely works. I've even seen this movie, which is called A Monk and a Gun, which kind of like makes fun of Bhutan's sort of like little quirks. And when originally they were switching over to a constitutional government, the people didn't want to vote. They're like, we like the king. We don't like need this. And they were trying to explain to them that this is good for the future of the country to modernize. And everyone's like, we don't want to do that. Why would we vote? Like, we don't need this.
Is that big majority?
I think the way that they portray it in the movie is as such. So there's 2 great Bhutan movies that'll get you excited to go to Bhutan. One is A Monk and a Gun. 2 is called Lunana, a yak in the classroom. And what this is about, it's about this. So the way it works is the teachers in Bhutan get assigned to an area. So this place, Lunana, is in the middle of literal nowhere. You have to trek to get there. There's no way to drive there. It's a 4-day trek, and these teachers need to bring all their supplies with them. So the way that they were explaining it to me, that movie is completely factually accurate.
Really?
Yes. The only difference being now apparently in that area, there's this rare caterpillar that is like very, very valuable in all this like Eastern medicine or something. And the king, since these people in this area don't have opportunities, he's allowed them to like cultivate and make money off of it. So apparently now they're all rich and they take helicopters back and forth to there now, but like while still living in this kind of remote rustic lifestyle.
Do you know if this is the caterpillar?
I don't, but do you think it might be?
It looks like it.
So anyway, dude, yeah, like, and the whole movie is like, you know, this teacher goes, he doesn't want to go. And then he ends up like really loving it, like classic. It's like a little cliche, but it's very good. It got nominated for Best Foreign Film like a few years ago. But anyway, so like this is the type of place we're talking about. And it was sick, dude. There was all these monkeys and yaks and like we got great footage, like had a great time. And another story about the king, apparently during COVID, it's like a classic Bhutan story. During COVID, they made everybody stay inside. Apparently like only a few people got it in the country. Like it didn't really affect them. So you had to stay inside for like a month or something. But during that time, there's all these stray dogs, and they were worried that the stray dogs weren't going to get fed. So the king made the army go out and feed all the stray dogs. Like this is the type of place we're talking about.
That's sweet savage.
Yeah, sweet savage, very cute, and just a really great experience, man. But yeah, so all these people like that work in tourism get trained. So this woman who's administering this farmhouse like is trained by the tourism board. So so it's like I was saying, like this authentic experience, but it's really well curated for visitors to have the best possible time. They treat you amazing.
Sweet.
Dude, it was sick.
Did the llama ask you any questions?
Yeah, maybe. He probably asked me. He was just kind of like predicting stuff. He's like, this is true in your life, that's true in your life. The only thing he got wrong was my age. I was like, how old do you think I am? He's like 49.
Ooh, not for a second.
And then he's like, we're not the same race. He's like, I can't tell you. I don't know how old you are because like I'm not used to seeing people like you. I'm like, all right, that's fair. But like, dude was spot on all these other things. It was pretty crazy.
How old was he?
I think he was around my age. He might have been like a year. But dude, when he had a microphone, like he's like, he like sounded like a holy man. When he had the microphone, he's like, like it was sick. So anyway, really, really cool experience. And then, so during this time, dude, I got gaslit by my hotel in Nepal so hard. It was like crazy. So I get an email. And in Bhutan, one shitty thing about Bhutan, you need a SIM card. Like you can't use your international plan, which I have on my phone. It's not supported. So like you need a SIM card. So I got this like eSIM that like didn't work. And then at the farmhouse, what'd you say?
Of course.
At the farmhouse, there was no Wi-Fi, which was really nice to like get away from it all. But like, that's why I was like WhatsApping Lynch. Like my text wouldn't go through. It was like really annoying. But I start getting these emails, and I'm barely getting emails to begin with, but I get an email from the hotel that I stayed at, a Loft Kathmandu, which is a nice hotel. It's like a Marriott, but like Marriotts in other countries are not the same. Like the Loft is the same in every city in America. Like, and it's pretty nice. It's like one of their nicer brands, but, well, not nicer. It's not like the Ritz, but it's solid. And on the road, I'll stay there sometimes. It's like hip, younger, leaning branding, but it's really nice in Kathmandu, right? But still, Kathmandu's cheap as hell. So it was like $100 a night probably or something. So I get an email from them being like, hey, like your card got declined. So like one room was paid for, but the other one was declined. Now I had these rooms prepaid for. So I knew that it was paid for. So I'm like looking at my cards. I'm like, I'm not seeing any charges of anything. I'm like, that's wrong. I was like, I prepaid for these. They're like, no, it doesn't matter. Like, even if you prepaid, like we still charge you when you check out. I'm like, no. Like I prepaid, they were paid for. I didn't like check in with my card and then you authorize it and get paid. I'm like, I prepaid. So they're like, no, sorry. They're like, your card ending in 571 or whatever got declined. I'm like, I don't have a card ending in 571. There's nowhere that has that. I look at the reservation. I look at all my cards. I'm like, I did not do it like this. And they're like, sir, kindly just fill out the credit card authorization form. We probably go back and forth 5 times. And I'm like, hey, listen, I'm coming back to Kathmandu in a couple of days. I'll come in and handle this in person. But just like heads up, like I'm going to be pretty annoyed if you were wrong because this is annoying and I'm pretty sure you're wrong, but whatever. Maybe you're not and I'll come in person. A few days later, I get an email. It's like, sorry, like we fucked up, but you do have a bill still for like laundry, which was like $15. So like, so if you want to just give us the authorization for that. I'm like, really? You're not just going to like hook that up at this point? But I'm like, all right, whatever. But it was just like really fucking obnoxious and like a full on gaslighting situation. Yeah. I forwarded them like the prepayment and like, it was as if I didn't send it. They kept being like, sir, can you, so yeah, whatever. That it doesn't like ultimately matter. And I didn't like throw a fit about it or anything, but like super fucking annoying when you don't have service to try to like navigate that, you know?
That be happening a little too much these days.
Yeah.
The business gaslight, the business mistake.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that hard.
Agreed.
It seems like every trip it happens once.
It's annoying.
It should happen every couple of trips total.
It should never be happening. But agreed. If it does, it should be. So anyway, that was annoying, but I'm glad that they weren't able to like charge me or anything. Yeah. And then eventually like send me another email apologizing. So whatever, it's all good. But yeah, dude, fucking obnoxious. whatever, no problem. But I was gone for like 2 weeks and it was long, dude. I felt like a little homesick. You know what I mean?
Which day?
Right at the beginning. So first of all, usually when I go on these kind of trips, like I'm really fucking excited to do it. And like, I love shooting. I love doing it all. It's great. But like, I'm on a more ambitious schedule this year, which by the way, watch my Dry Tortugas National Park video that is on my personal channel right now. That is my April video from my promised 1 video a month schedule. So I was definitely feeling homesick because like I've been doing more of these lately. So I've been gone a lot and like, you know, it's like work more so than like when I do Afghanistan, and I would do one every 18 months and like have a great time and then be back and be like, okay, like I'm committed to like doing more this time. So I wanted to get 3 videos out of this trip. So I did Nepal, Bhutan, and then I did another video in Qatar, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But dude, definitely felt homesick, dude. And the time difference was challenging too. Nepal actually is on a 15-minute time zone. There's only 3 of them in the world. It's part of Western Australia, some island I've never heard of, and Nepal. So random 10 and a half or 10 and 15 ahead of New York. And I think Bhutan is just 10 ahead of New York, or maybe 11 hours. So that's a really challenging time difference because it's just completely the opposite, right? So it's like hard to get used to it because like Hillary's only awake for like a small portion of the day that I'm awake.
And you're 10 ahead.
Yeah. So like, yeah. So, and then like, I even felt it with all my friends, dude. It got to a point where like, I was not getting many texts from anyone by the end of it. I felt very isolated and like out of my life in a way that like didn't feel comfortable, that I like didn't fully get used to, which is maybe a bummer, and I was definitely able to enjoy it. And like, there's these amazing moments where I was like, I can't believe we're filming this right now. This is so sick. Like, it's going to come out great. But it was challenging.
Yeah.
It was definitely challenging. So
That's tough.
anyway, yeah. So then we go from Bhutan back to Kathmandu for one more night. There's some cool shit in Kathmandu. There's like a UNESCO, it's a UNESCO cultural heritage kind of city. And there's like 6 or 7 really cool spots. So like there's the biggest stupa in the world, which is like sort of like a Buddhist, like statue type of thing.
A stupa?
Yeah, it's the biggest stupa in Kathmandu if you look it up. Then there was all these like cool, like ancient like towns and temples and like this monkey temple where there's just monkeys everywhere. And monkeys are super fucking naughty, dude. Like they will steal your shit. So you kind of have to like be on high alert. If you look up the monkey temple, you'll see it too. Yeah.
Does not want his photo taken.
Yeah, dude. So that was all cool. Went to this amazing dinner the last night, and shout out to Pradeep, who was our guide. He invited us to this like big dinner that he like treated us to. And there was all this like ceremonial dancing, and it was cool. And he also had this like German group that was there that he was taking care of. And like one of the German guys was like eating with his hands, like mixing it up. And I was like, dude, you're doing too much. Like they brought us utensils. Why are you eating with your hands, dude?
Did you say that?
No.
You say with your eyes?
Yes. I was like, classic.
Oh.
And then the final leg of the trip was Qatar. So I scheduled it in a way so that we would have an entire day in Qatar. Now it was ambitious, and I was like, well, let's just see if we can get a sick video out of this. Like, we'll see. We were supposed to land at like 12. It ends up being an hour delayed. We get in at 1. And like the Kathmandu airport, bro, is like a fucking shit show. And for a lot of these flights, like you can't get your boarding pass in advance. So you have to like wait in the line. We waited in the line for like an hour and a half. Then they're like, go over there for a second so they can inspect our carry-ons. And like nobody was checking. As I was standing there for someone to check my carry-on, I'm like, oh, I don't need to do this. So I just left and walked to security.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like, no, and it didn't matter. And Zach kind of got left behind. He's like, I'm still standing here. I'm like, dude, leave that area.
Just go.
Follow, like, come upstairs. So long day. We get in, we get picked up, and we're going to go dune bashing. You know about dune bashing?
Let me guess. Dune bashing. Dune, sand.
Yes.
Bashing, smash. I'm assuming that you guys are doing something with heavy force out on the dunes. Maybe big wheels?
Pretty much.
Big wheels on the dune?
Pretty much. We were in a SUV, like driving insanely fast over these like giant steep dunes and like wiping out and shit, basically.
Like this?
Yes. Dude, it was sick.
Dude, you were living like a car commercial.
Pretty much.
You were car commercial.
And we also shot drone shots of it. It looks super sick. Now, this place that we were, like, we went to this sort of inlet that like is part of the Gulf. So like there was like sand to ocean basically moments. Not actual ocean, but it's like the Gulf. But like it's the Gulf. It's like the Gulf of Mexico. Like
ocean.
What?
It's like oceany.
It was sick.
Ocean
so
view.
like sand, desert sand directly to water, like absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. I'll show you. And we got some sick shots. Like the drone was flying with flamingos. I know. It's like, but yeah, look how sick this is.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's like gorgeous.
Zach on all fours
Zach on
getting,
all fours getting
the
the
shot
shot.
of some
Sick
little
shit.
critters or something.
Something like that. Yeah. So anyway, like really pretty. Ripped the dunes. We hung out with some falcons, which was pretty cool. And then we went and had like the best dinner ever at this Syrian restaurant at this like souk, which is like market that like opens up at night. And Qatar's like super nice. It's like bougie. It's like a rich country. So really, really nice. We also rode the subway there, which was cool. And yeah, man, just had the best time and then flew 15 hours back to New York the next day. So physically challenging, but pretty sick. Pretty sick.
That's awesome. I'm excited to see the footage.
Also saw Mount Everest. So on the flight back from Bhutan, if you're on the proper side of the plane, you get like a very clear shot of Mount Everest, which I'll also show you right now, which is like pretty cool to see the biggest mountain in the world. Yeah, Mount Everest.
Wow.
Right? It's like a pretty clear shot of it.
Now, does flying near Mount Everest affect turbulence?
Yes.
Probably bad, right?
Kinda. There was like definitely bumpy moments, but like, you know, when you're like flying over mountains and you just expect there to be turbulence, so it was like that. To me, that turbulence isn't bad. The turbulence I don't like is the one that you don't expect.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like super violent. And there's moments of that.
I forgot whether that was the case or not. Mountains.
Yeah, there's definitely, and they even say that. So we could have flown from Paro in Bhutan to Boomtang, but apparently the flight is like notoriously insanely turbulent. I guess it's only like a 20-minute flight. Like, and now that I know that, I was like, I would have been fine on the flight. But even the guide was like, I was on a flight with Americans, and like they fly all the time, and even they were like clinging to their seat. Like it was like really insane turbulence. So I'm like, whatever. The drive was really pretty and pleasant, so all good. So it wasn't like Nepal with bad roads. There was like no bad roads. The driver was also Jigme, bro. This guy's the best driver. He drove slow. He used 2 hands. I was like, this is what I want. It's not a time machine, dude.
Yeah.
And there's all these like nice signs along the road that's like, no hurry, no worry.
Oh, it's lovely.
And then it was like, use condoms. There's all these like things for the well-being of everybody.
Julio, I think I turned off every single notification to apps on my phone because they're distracting and they just set me apart from those that are focused and get their day done. But there's one app that I allow the notifications to come. Can you tell me which one you think it is?
I'm guessing Headspace.
You're guessing right, Julio. Headspace sending me that daily reminder to tune in and check in and focus on myself. It's just it's a great routine and it's a great habit to build, opening up Headspace and taking advantage of the tools that they have to just help you kind of sort yourself out.
Yeah, dude. And it's, you know, you'd be joining me and the over 100 million people who have used the app in the past. Headspace is amazing. There's all these great different programs regardless of your level of meditation. And when I'm short on time, there's really amazing on-the-go programs too that just help you like reset, get started. If I have a long day, when I have like 15 tasks, sometimes it's hard for me to like do one at a time. But Headspace allows you to kind of meditate, be in the moment, realize that, for me at least, I realize that it's gonna be one at a time. I'm going to get all this stuff done. There's no need to anticipate all the things that I need to do. Just be there, be present, attack one thing at a time, and you'll be good. But in general, I think it's really helpful to have that headspace because that's the way that I've always felt about it. Even before the app existed, I used to think about it like having that space in my brain to be able to effectively function, both for my mental and for my physical health, because sometimes these things can manifest physically if you have a lot of anxiety or whatever. So Headspace is the way to go. I think especially when I know I have a lot going on, it's one of the most useful tools that I have in my repertoire, and I highly recommend you getting involved as well.
Yeah, we love using Headspace. So feel good and mean it when you say it.
Mean it when you say it.
Mean it when you say it. For a limited time, get Headspace free for 60 days. Go to headspace.com/oopsthepodcast. That's HEADSPACE.com/oopsthepodcast to unlock all of Headspace free for 60 days. Headspace.com/oopsthepodcast.
I thought of this and I'm curious what your answer is. And you guys can all weigh in on this listening too.
Do it down in the comment section below.
Do it in the comment section below. How much money would I have to pay you to attempt to climb Mount Everest? Now, so attempt meaning...
Yeah, what does that mean?
You show up with the intention of doing it. You can't like crap. You can't like fake being sick or something. Like the only way, but what happens with Everest is people go and it takes like 2 months basically. And every day you kind of go a little higher and then come back down and try to acclimate to the altitude. Some people end up getting altitude sickness. There's all sorts of risks that can happen and not everybody ends up summiting. So if you end up in that group, you still get the money. Now, the official statistics say that 1% to 2% of people who attempt to climb Everest die. I think that the number is much higher. Depending on, now, I guess 300 something people, according to the guide, including the 2 seasons. Now, the spring season is the easier time to climb it. In the fall, it's like really icy and much more challenging. So more people die trying then, but I guess less people attempt it also. So the way he made it seem was like 50 to 60 people are dying a year and only 300 are summiting. Now, a big group of those people are never getting close to summiting or attempting to. So the numbers get kind of murky, but I suspect it's higher than 1% to 2% of people die. So just putting that out there. But you can do it in like the luxury way. Now, apparently when you trek to base camp, it takes like 7-10 days or something. But along the way, first of all, you have a porter carrying all of your shit, which is kind of fucked up. But so there's that. And the places that you're staying in are nice. So it's like nice hotels. Like I think there's even Wi-Fi at base camp. It's kind of like a glamping situation. Of course, there's risks still. There's earthquakes. There's avalanches. Like you could die. And plus you have to be there for 2 fucking months trying to summit Everest. How much would I have to pay you to attempt?
Well, I pulled up a couple other facts.
Okay. What's you got?
So I would do it in May. They said that that's the perfect window to do it. Right now it says that it's about a 1% to 2% death rate for climbers. Back in the 90s, it was 6%.
Wow.
But it's been safer due to the gear and the weather forecasting and just logistics in general. We're dealing with wind speeds up to 30 miles per hour. And we're also thinking about the opportunity cost of not living my life for 2 months to do this.
2 months. How much?
I wouldn't bring my lovely Princess Victoria with me. So that's not spending time with her for 2 months.
And dude, it also sucks. Like in my opinion, like living at base camp for a month, like that sounds pretty shitty. Like I don't want to do that. I would not want to climb. I don't want
I wouldn't
to
either.
To climb Everest. And it never sounds interesting. It's not something I'm interested in at all.
Yeah.
But how much would you have to pay me?
Yeah, like this is something like I could live 10 lifetimes without doing and not even blink about it. So it'd have to be something exorbitant, but realistic. I think I would do it for, we're in the millions.
If someone, wow.
We're in the millions.
I said row.
Like that's at least, I'm thinking at least 10.
$10 million.
Yeah, it's not my vibe.
Yeah.
So to attempt. But what if, does the only way that me, like if I'm attempting and if they're like, oh no, it's way too dangerous, you got to turn back, does that count as an attempt?
So no, so basically like one day you might be it's the day you're gonna try to summit, but you don't because of the weather. Now you're gonna have to try tomorrow. And then you try and you get altitude sickness, so they got to bring you all the way back down. Like something in the normal lifespan of people who are attempting and who actually want to summit. If you're not able to do it within that reasonable range, then you're fine. If you never summit, you still get the money. But you're not allowed to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or, all right, I got close. Like the Sherpas or whoever, or the doctors need to be like, you're no longer fit to do it. Or you're there for X amount of time and it just never happens, so you're not able to.
And how long is the attempt from base to tip?
So you like I said, every day you go up a little and come back down. And then you go a little further. And you
because you're building like...
Because it's 29,000 feet. Mm-hmm. So it's like, the highest place on earth. It's like challenging for the body. So... and you can use all the bells and whistles, oxygen, like all the things that like people use, I guess, in the best case scenario to try to climb it. Whether or not you end up doing it doesn't matter, but like you have to go and try for the amount of time that people try for, say a couple months.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd do it for 50K.
No.
100K, I wouldn't do it. 500K, probably. I'd probably do it for 500. 400, maybe not.
I ATV'd up Mount Snow and that was scary.
How high is Mount Snow? I'm guessing it is like 10,000 feet.
3,500.
3,500 feet
Wait, that might be
or meters. Yeah, so if 3,500 meters is like 11,000.
3,600 feet.
30,
That was a lot.
That's hilarious.
I think I would need $10 million to want to do that. That would make sense. I could give Vic a hug and a kiss, and she'd be like, "I'll see you in 2
How
months."
much?
$10 million. I would need $10 million. I don't want to do that. But if I do it, like that would be my set myself up for life. 2 months.
Yeah.
I would take advantage of that and try to milk out as much of that as possible. $10 million is a lot of money. A lot of people roll your eyes. That's my price.
Yeah, I actually might not even do it for 500,000 now that I think about it. Like 2 months
You
away.
said you contemplated doing it for 50,000.
No, I said no.
But you were like, that's the
50,
first
no.
number that you brought up.
I'd say 2 million.
2 million?
2 million.
Yeah. I started at 1. So I would say 10.
10 million.
10,
Right?
10 to do it and give it my all.
The official Lynch attempt amount is 10 million. I love it.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Cut this because it's. But anyway, so
Yeah.
that's my thought.
Like no Wi-Fi?
No, you have Wi-Fi. Base camp doesn't interest me though, and like being gone for 2 months, man, that's a lot.
That is a
Big
lot.
stress on the relationship.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would I would feel like the world's moved on without me.
Yeah.
Is that a little bit what you felt like a little bit when you were feeling homesick?
I felt a little bit.
Not that you're forgotten, but just like, yeah, life's going on over there. It's weird that life's going on over there.
So this
I'm
is
not part of it.
This is the longest shoot that I've ever gone on. I think in total it was like 15 days, and like usually I do like 10 to 12 max.
Yeah.
So it felt long, but I'm like I've done it before, and I always know that when you get back, it's as if nothing has happened. So like whatever. But dude, so this is funny. On our first flight there, we were next to this 18-year-old kid named Bradley, who was going to Bahrain to be in the military, and he had never flown before. So he started off in Norfolk, Virginia, and then flew to Chicago, and then to New York, and then was going to Bahrain. These are the first flights he's ever been on in his life.
Virginia to Chicago to New York?
Yeah, for some reason. I mean, he must have booked the flight himself or whatever. I don't know how that worked out, but this was the flight path that this guy ended up on. And he's on this 12 and a half hour flight. And dude, this guy was so funny. He was like, bruh, he just kept going, bruh, I'm going to show you a picture of him.
You build rapport right away?
Yeah, and he was just making us laugh. Like he didn't know how anything worked, bro. This is like 18-year-old kid. He's as green as you could be, and this is him.
Oh my God.
We got him in the video for 2 seconds, and he was like, bro, he's like, yo, he's like, my social anxiety is like on 10 right now. He's like, I didn't even know what to say. And dude, we started just like following.
I turned him into a sticker for you. Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. We were following him on Instagram, and we started to get these updates from him. So he was going to the Navy, and this is the first thing we see. Get me off this MF boat, dude. And he kept posting shit. Then he posted a picture of the vessel with a thumbs down. Bradley's just
Why is he
in the
doing
Navy.
it?
He's never been anywhere, and here he is in the middle of Bahrain. Dude, and he kept posting shit like that. It was making us laugh so hard. There's another one too. I need to get off this boat now.
Stars emoji.
And dude, then he was sleeping on the fold out table, and when the seats recline, like they'll get hit. And then like he got hit, and he was like, bro, this dude's jamming me up. Dude, he was making us die. And then somehow he just takes a phone call on the flight. And he's like, yo, he's like,
No.
dude, I have no idea how
He
to
doesn't
do it.
know.
He's on the flight, on the phone. He's like, yo, he's like, we've been eating all this fancy ass shit. Like we got gnocchi. He's like, what is this? I'm like, it's like pasta. He's like, all right, yeah. I'll have what they're having. Bro, he was so funny. And since you can't see a picture of him, he's like a white kid, like 18 years old from Ohio. And was just making us laugh so hard, dude.
Damn.
This is a picture of the Zesty driver. Hilarious.
This one?
Yeah. He kept going,
Oh, wow.
and he kept showing us pictures of, he has a Buddhist temple at his house. He's like, big llama, like with these like different llamas there. And I was like, oh, cool.
That's great.
Anyway, man,
This guy's name's Bradley.
Bradley, shout out to Bradley.
Shout out Bradley.
Good luck out there, man. Dude, yeah, it was really cracking me up.
Oh, that's someone that deserves like that's a good documentary. Just like following this guy who
Dude.
like it's like what
He was like,
on this.
oh, dude, it was so funny. Oh my God, he was cracking us up. So anyway, I'm at 27 flights right now for 2025.
Damn.
Some solid damage. I'm definitely gonna break my record, my 50 flight record this year.
Damn.
Especially if I keep filming shit, which I'm going to. So that's that. Keep your eyes peeled for the video. Tortugas is out now, Alaska next month. And then after that, we'll get into the Nepal stuff.
Damn.
So
We
good
play a
shit.
quick game before we head out. So this is something that we invented on the bachelor party while we were waiting for our Ubers after golf. So this game's called Define It.
Okay.
Okay? Giulio, what does define the word wallpaper?
Paper that you put over an existing wall that is fairly permanent, meaning that you stick it on in a way that it's intended to be there forever.
Yo, you used one of the key words. So the definition, Giulio would win that. You just basically get like, yeah, that sounds right. That checks out. Paper that is pasted in vertical strips over the walls of a room to provide a decorative or textured surface. Now, when you look this up on Google, you look up the definition of any word, they underline certain like big keywords. And if you say that keyword at all during the definition or your attempt of it, automatically like you got it. And it's all just about like, can you define these words that we use every single day?
Interesting.
Words we use every single day.
Hilarious.
And we did that we did that for a 45-minute Uber ride.
Oh, I'll give one to you.
Anything. And also we call people out. My brother used the word like, he's like, oh, that's disgusting. And I'm like, Chris, what does disgusting mean? And just it's a fun one. It's insightful.
I got one for you. Strobe light.
Strobe light. I think because it's strobe light, I can use light in the definition. A type of light that synchronizes with music to flicker and manipulate the passage of light at a rapid pace.
All right, tell me if you would win. I'm not sure. It says a strobe light is a device used to produce regular flashes of light, which is basically flickers. It is one of a number of devices that can be used as a stroboscope, meaning the act of whirling. You think you got it?
I don't know. It's also just like, did you like my definition?
And it's fun. Is that even a definition? Like, can you define objects? I guess, right?
I don't know. Giulia, what's the definition of paper?
A thing typically derived from some sort of tree that is intended to be written upon or have ink printed onto.
Yeah, you got the gist of that. Paper. Material manufactured in thin sheets from the pulp of wood or other fibrous substances used for writing, drawing, or printing on, or as wrapping material.
Solid.
That's all. We did that for
Fun
like
game.
a couple hours.
Fun game.
Fun little game.
All right, we'll bring it out. We'll take it out here with an email. We asked people for some of their college experiences. So we got one from somebody called My College Experience Secret Society Edition.
Okay, so this sounds like fraternal and Ivy.
Okay, so just chiming in with my college experience. I wanted to share my secret society experience. To the more interesting part, I got invited to join a secret society my sophomore year. I know some universities are known to have one and everybody knows about it, but truly this is not one of them. The purpose of the society was to recognize those making a large impact on campus and to build an organization that would continue to build up the campus. Doing things like sponsoring a yearly scholarship, erecting a monument, selling bricks at the monument to fundraise. That's sort of the boring part of it. When I was handed my invitation, it was a very vague slip of paper with an email address on it that was silently given to me as I passed up here in the hallway. I had to then go on to contacting the email person, getting clues and guessing who my cohorts were. Once I had 2 other names, one happened to be my best friend, but we weren't allowed to talk to each other about it. I had no idea if we were the only 3 or if there were more. My cohorts and I were eventually allowed to contact one another and were told to meet a certain fringe spot on campus late at night. We were met by someone we knew and trusted, then had to get into a car and put on a blindfold. As we drove, we were instructed to sing the school song that we were told to memorize, and we were told to sing louder if they couldn't hear us. My cohorts and I were holding hands, singing the best we could. We arrived at a woodsy destination, which turned into what I later found out is called Night of Challenge. We worked through about 5 different tasks of physical and mental difficulty, some intentionally impossible. Make a fire in 5 minutes with these 2 rocks and steel wool. Nothing harmful or dangerous. There were numerous faceless people in black robes watching us. It's crazy. We were never given feedback as we moved through and eventually we returned to our original meeting point. After Night of Challenge, we were contacted from the email address to let us know about an induction night. My cohorts and I again met at the fringe location on campus in the middle of the night, again got in a car, put on blindfolds again, drove in the middle of nowhere again, and we had to form a single file line and sort of conga line style walk through the woods with our blindfolds on. At this point, we could tell there were other cohort groups. We arrived at a bonfire with maybe 20 hooded, faceless people standing around it. I think we had to sing some song again. There were current students and alumni. At that point, much more was revealed, and we were told more about the society, and things became lighthearted, and we learned a handshake and so forth. As the new inductees, we conducted meetings in secret each week to select scholarship recipients who would be chosen for the next year induction class. Then we got to be the ones in the hoods, which was really fun. I've been out for a while, same year as Ryan, but the society remains. I live too far away to go back in for the Night of Challenge and induction night, but the society is still quietly making contributions to campus and connecting influential students. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Thanks for sharing.
So I wonder, like, do you do fraternal stuff too, or is it just really philanthropic fun that is gate kept by ritual?
Yeah, it sounds like the ritual is sort of the
What a sentence,
fraternal,
Ryan. That was a
the
good
fraternal point.
sentence.
This is a woman, by the way.
Oh.
But still, like the same principles apply, it seems.
Yeah, that seemed to check out with a lot of fraternal rituals and things that you have to go through to get in. So it is weird, some of the things that you do, and but that is kind of fun, and at least it was harmless. It's fun to like start making a fire with 2 sticks and some flint.
Yeah.
That's a fun thing to do, and then one day have others do for you.
Agreed. So anyway,
That's great.
Send us your secret society or college experience stories. I'm Giulio. This is Ryan. Come see me on the road. I'm in DC the first weekend of May at the DC Comedy Loft. That's going to be a good one. Then Boston, June 12th. Lynch is going to be there for that one. That's going to be fun. 20th and 21st of June, I'm in Nashville. Then I have Charlotte in July, St. Pete in September. I think that's it for now. I'm adding some more. I should have Atlanta on the book soon. All good stuff. Follow us, Oops Podcast, oopspodcast@gmail.com for your stories and your info. At Not Julio, at Ryan is Really Polite. Ryan, you have anything coming up?
Yeah, Steam Room Etiquette. Check out our socials on social media. It's my improv group. We have a show in a couple of weeks, and hope you can grab some tickets if they're still available. I'll be posting about that. And enjoyed spending time with you. We'll talk to you later.
See you soon.